button. Hello, BigPod.
Hello,
How you doing?
doing fine.
Good, good. Welcome to this is actually SlimDevOps Live number 67, not 66 as it says in the chat, but we're here live with you, Pieter van Orden here, head of growth for Slim.AI, and joined by Primosh, the always illustrious Primosh, our developer experience engineer. So yeah, BigPod, what have you been up to?
This week I've been doing all the things I needed to do so I can travel in the future.
Ah,
Yeah, so conference and stuff like that.
cool. What
Getting
I think I know the conference that you're getting ready for, but do you know for sure what it is just yet?
yeah, from what I know, I think I know what it is.
Okay, but you're not sharing. Not yet. Not yet. It might
Let's not share it yet.
yeah, it may or may
Plans
not
might change.
be a cloud native focused conference that may or may not be in a Dutch country that is similar to my first name, the origin of my first name. And it may or may not be happening sometime around April. Did I get all of that right?
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. Oh, that sounds really fun. That sounds really fun. So I may or may not be at that very same conference. So maybe we can do a live stream from that conference. That would be fun. So
Yeah.
what kind of stuff were you getting done? Like passport photos and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Getting all that, and while I was in the city, I also grabbed myself a new phone.
Ah, nice. What'd you get?
Uh, a new Samsung, the
Okay.
one that is just out.
Okay. So you're like a new Android person. You get like the latest and greatest whenever they come out.
No, it was just coincidence.
No.
Right time, right place.
Okay, okay, nice, nice, nice. Are you happy with it so far? Have you figured out how to use
Yeah,
it? Okay,
yeah,
awesome, awesome. That sounds good. And you join us from Slovenia.
yeah.
How far is that from, say, Amsterdam, to pick a random country that has no bearing on what we just talked about?
It's basically the other side of Europe.
Okay,
I'm near Mediterranean,
okay,
and that is essentially diagonally on the other side of Europe.
okay. All right. Very, very cool. Well, that sounds fun. So, how do you get over to Amsterdam? Are you gonna fly, or are you gonna, or say a country like
Probably
that? Yeah,
fly.
fly. Okay, all right. I've always wanted to like do the train trip around Europe, and kind of like go to all the different countries and like just kind of travel around like that for a while. But I don't know. I might be getting too old and too like luxurious in my ways to go do that and backpack it like that. But have you ever done that, like train travel around Europe?
No,
No.
no.
Okay. Well, maybe KubeCon will be, or a conference like KubeCon EU will be, your opportunity to do that. Now that we've given away all of our secrets. Very, very cool. Nice. Well, so today, so for people who might just be joining, if you're in chat, you're kind of curious like what we're doing. We're Slim.AI. We're a company that's focused on container hardening and container security. So basically, we're built on top of the SlimToolkit open source project. We have a SaaS platform that you can find over at Slim.AI, which is above my head. Um, and at Slim.AI, you can go and create your own user account. You have a bunch of tools to work with containers, software containers like Docker, and we work a lot in the DevOps space. So I think one of the things that we were going to look at today, BigPod, was GitHub Actions. Is that correct?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So give me at a high level, because we've done a little bit of this, and I'll post a repo into chat in a second. Um, we've done a little bit of this before, in terms of like DevOps 101 type of content, right? Where you kind of, I think we had built a GitLab CI pipeline with our friend of the stream, Brendan O'Leary, who was over at GitLab. He's now at a company called Project Discovery. So what is a GitHub action, and what is it? how can people think about it? Like, what is it similar to? What are the advantages of doing a GitHub action and all that kind of stuff?
Well, GitHub Actions is a type of CI/CD pipeline.
Okay.
It's specific to GitHub,
Okay.
and it has its own syntax. So it's all about what you learn.
Okay.
It has really the only benefit compared to, let's say, GitLab CI/CD that is inside GitHub, and you have it already as a part of your repository if you host it on GitHub.
Okay. Okay. So it lives. So good thing about actions, I guess, is they live very close to your source code.
Yeah.
You know, there's kind of like a marketplace for them, right? So there's some GitHub actions that are just sort of
Yes.
out there, and then you can also
Now
write
we
your
come to the
own.
difference between action and workflow.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So yeah, clarify that for me. What is the difference between a GitHub action and a GitHub workflow?
First of all, GitHub Workflow is what you write inside your repository, where you have, which is basically you define the whole flow of how pipeline will be done.
Okay.
Action, on the other hand, the actions, so GitHub action
Mm-hmm.
is basically, think of it like a function that is
Okay.
pre-made for you. Whether
Okay.
you can make it, and or you can get one from the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially like using a library,
Okay.
like a function from a library. It's pre-made for you. It's predefined, and it has certain parameters you can set. While workflow, you write the whole thing yourself inside the repository.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Whereas with action, you just reference inside the workflow. You can reference different actions at different steps.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So you'd find both of these things under the Actions tab in GitHub, which we'll look at in a second.
Yeah,
But the difference being the workflow is something that you're going to write yourself. It's akin to a script, but really it's a CI
yeah.
process. It's going to run every time your code
It's a CI
changes.
process. Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to run based on a trigger, say a code commit or something like that. And it may be comprised of several predefined actions that you can find in
yeah.
the
Several
marketplace.
steps, several actions,
Yeah, right.
and a step can be either an action or what you yourself write as a step.
Okay, okay. So workflow is going to have several of these steps. Some of them are like predefined. So something like to give people who watch us might think about is like a push to Docker Hub or something, some sort of Docker
Yeah,
function. Docker has a lot of GitHub actions that you can kind of pull in so that you can do these Docker container based systems, but then you might be doing something else, say like run a test against the container or run some other action against the container that's not in the GitHub, the Docker action, but is part of your workflow file. So you're kind of combining these things together so they run in a sequence, and that does all the things that you need to do in order to create a GitHub
yeah.
action. Yeah, or a GitHub workflow. Cool.
If we when we're gonna actually open the the workflow file, the very first step is already an action, which
Mm-hmm.
almost every workflow has, and that's the code checkout.
Okay. Yeah, you got to check out your code so that the action itself can do something with it. Actually, I think that's probably a good starting point. Why don't we jump in there, because I was thinking that maybe we would jump into the sample repo that we have, where our colleagues Mitranjay and Ivan have created a sample for us. But I think actually maybe starting from scratch will help, and people will kind of get it, and then we can kind of start working through that. We'll set up the framework of the action with your help, and then we can start kind of like doing some of the Slim.AI bits. I don't know if we'll get through like to finish all of those, but I think that's a good starting place. So why don't we jump in there? I'll jump over to my web browser here, and this is the GitHub repo. I'll post this into chat. And again, if you're in chat, definitely say hi and let us know what you're up to, and that you're watching along. Also, let us know if any of our sound is off or anything. I think this is the first stream I've done so far where I haven't messed up the audio. So hopefully it's all going. Looks all good from my side, but let us know if you can't hear us or if you need to see anything a little bit more clearly. But I'm actually going to start elsewhere, and where I'm going to start is actually in this. Let me start actually over here. So I'm going to start over in the Actions tab. I'm actually just realizing, oh no, I'm a member of this one, so I should be able to do this. So this is like what you get when you come to the GitHub Actions, and this is also where you would begin building workflows. Is that right?
Yes. First, it may be a bit confusing, but the whole CI/CD system is called Actions, and a component of it is also called Action.
Okay, got it. Got it.
So what we have on this page are currently a set of templates for publishing, deployment, building,
Yep.
and somewhere at the bottom should be a completely empty example, the complete basic template.
Okay. I think it's actually I think I saw it at the top.
Or
So,
at the top. Yeah, it's at
which
the
is
top. Skip this and set up a workflow yourself.
okay. Just before we do that, so I'm kind of curious, like, so some of these, we had talked a little bit about some of these actions. So these are some of the workflows or actions that we've talked
These
about. So
are here. These are actually templates for workflows.
okay. Okay.
And they probably use one or two actions.
Yeah. So if we clicked into this configure Docker image, so this one says build a Docker image to deploy, run, or push to a registry. We are actually going to do this, but we're not going to use this template because we have some custom stuff that we want to do. But you can see like that would be an example of like a workflow or an action. So every time my code gets committed, I want to build a new container out of that new code, and then maybe I'll do something else with it, push it to a registry, deploy it into one of these production systems, maybe run some tests against it or something like that. So that's why they give you these. And one thing that I hadn't realized about actions until I started going through this tutorial is that they're, oh, hey, thanks, Lindsay. Colleague Lindsay in chat telling us that everybody sounds good. One thing I hadn't noticed about actions is that they actually are all running in containers. Is that true? Like, so that like underneath the hood, basically, you're usually like choosing a container to run the workflow in. Am I getting that right, or do you think that's not true?
I don't think that's true.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong.
They are fully fledged VMs.
Okay. Fully fledged VMs, so dedicated. Well, we'll have to get somebody from.
As far as I remember, each run is in its own VM. And as far as I remember, it is in Microsoft's cloud. Of course, GitHub being Microsoft.
Right. Of course,
so
that
it
would
should be in Azure.
Azure, yeah.
But as far as I remember, they are each VMs, or if they are containers, they are very well connected containers, because you can do everything from Docker in there to basically anything you would do you could do on a normal system or on a VM.
Okay.
And some stuff that in a container you might not be able to do because of how namespaces and all that works.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, I had actually thought that was the case, but I do know that that some of the actions like do interact with containers. So maybe we'll see that as we get into the example. I'll hold my thought there until we get deeper into it. Okay, so I'm going to skip this step and go to set up a workflow yourself. And that's going to be the first thing that I do, because we actually have workflow examples in our sample repo that we can go to and look at. And you being our expert is going to tell us how to create this. Okay, cool. All right.
Okay.
So cool. So I guess, before we get into this, I think maybe one thing that's kind of useful, and I'll just open it up over here so we can take a look at it, is just like, what is the app that we have? So in this case, we are actually running a NodeJs app. It's a very, very simple server app. So, hopefully people can see this, that, all it does is basically give a hello world response using the Express server. We have a very simple Docker file that doesn't do much more than, from node 18, this is again the large node 18 image, runs its, yarn install, does a little bit to expose the ports, and then fires the server.js from the entry point. This again was all set up for us by our colleague Mitranjay and Ivan. But that's really all there is to it. We have a simple package.json file without too many dependencies in it, but we do have one dependency. We have the express server dependency. So, as we start building out our container, it's good to know like everything that's going to be inside of it. But just so we know, we are starting with a Node image, a Node application, and then we're going to be building a Docker container from it. From there, we're going to go through this Slim process of instrumenting that container, running a test against it, and then hardening it. If we get to that in this episode, we might need to do a V2 follow-up. So, okay, cool. So starting with the blank page, BigPod, what am I going to start? Do you know what I'm going to start doing here? Should I start kind of clicking around on some of these featured actions?
First, you want to give the workflow a name.
Okay.
So since this is a YAML file,
yep,
all you need to do is name, space, and what you want it for name.
Name. Okay. I'm going to call this the Slim GitHub
single word. Most people use the name of the file.
Oh, got it. Got it.
That's what I used in the past. So
okay. Let's call
in this case,
this one...
file is named main, but you can rename the file.
Okay, let's call it harden, because that's what we're going to do, right? We're going to harden the container. No, workflow. We can call it main. All right, so name equals main. That's like a Python joke.
One thing, it probably should be, what is called, lowercase, all lowercase.
Okay.
Okay.
Just need to be there. Yeah. Missing root word required. Root key.
Probably an error because we haven't actually built anything yet.
Got it.
Besides just the name.
Okay.
Next, we need to tell it when to actually run said workflow. So let's push it. Let's make it work when you push onto the main branch. So that would be on :
Yep.
Then next line, and we tab over for, and then push.
Okay.
Colon. And next line. And tab. And then branches.
Okay.
Enter again. And now, since this needs to be a list, we do a dash.
Okay.
And now we enter.
Do I tab that in? My YAML's not all that good.
It can be either tapped or not tapped.
Okay.
And now just name of the branch.
Okay. So main. Okay. So what this is telling the workflow file, just to repeat back. So when I push to the main branch, then we're going to trigger this flow. Everything that comes in the subsequent steps after this, that's going to be the flow that we're looking at. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Now we go back to we can out of tabs, so back to
root
that.
Yep.
And jobs.
Okay.
Colon.
All right.
This, and now we're gonna start defining different jobs, what our workflow do.
Okay.
So
cool.
We tab over.
Yep.
One, and here we're gonna name our first job inside the workflow.
Cool.
So.
And is this so? Are there some?
Will be to name it something it will be doing.
Okay.
So let's say it is doing the Docker stuff, so we name it Docker, for example.
Okay. And then everything that goes under this YAML is going to be part of the Docker job. Is that right?
Yeah, which is part of a workflow called main.
Okay. Okay, cool. So maybe we could actually call this one. I'm just trying to think. I wonder if this is kind of a good time to like set up the thought of what we're going to do. What would be like a typical, like we work in containers, so we're building a container out of some source code. Like you would have like what, like a build step, and then maybe like a vulnerability scan, and then like a test, or like what would, is there no typical?
First job would normally be just building and pushing the container.
Okay, cool. So
So
build.
for this would be one job would be getting all the code onto our system, pulling it, building it into image, and then pushing that image into a register. It would be a job number one,
Okay.
our build job, for
Yeah.
example.
Okay. And then maybe you would have like in a typical setup, and I'll go back and redo these, but you might have like a deploy setup, right? So
Yeah.
here it'd be like some build commands. And then here you'd have, some deploy commands. Right. And, let's say maybe you'd have some like, testing, right? So like some test commands. So this is like a typical kind of like setup for like how you would do a workflow file in GitHub Actions. Is that about right? Yeah. Hey, horses say nay. Nice. Hey, nice to see you. Welcome. I'm Peter. This is Primoz. We're from Slim.AI. We're working on a GitHub Action that's going to operate on some of our containers. We're basing it off of a pretty basic Node application. Going to build a container. We're going to run it through some processes that we have to optimize that container. And our goal for the stream is to get through this entire GitHub Action. Right now, we're kind of just like working on the initial framing. So we're setting up sort of a template. And Primoz, who also goes by BigPod, is helping us through that. So yeah, nice to meet you. And please jump in if you have questions. If there are other people watching and they're in chat, please feel free to say hi. Might ask if horses say nay is somebody from the front end horse community. If that's how you found us, let us know. I love that community. And, if you haven't been over there, it's a really awesome place to hang out. So cool. All right, BigPod, how are we? So this is pretty typical. So we have build, we're going to have to build that out, test and deploy. And then we have a few other steps that we can look at in the, in the example repo that our colleagues have given us. What else, is that pretty much it for jobs? And then what would come after jobs in like a typical setup?
That's about it,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
For a typical setup. The most important stuff happen inside jobs.
Okay. Got it. Okay, cool. That sounds good. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through and sort of build out some of these steps. So we have jobs, so we're going to push on pushes to the main branch. Is this a good time for us to kind of jump into the example library that we have and sort of see how our example is set up, or do we have some more boilerplate and stuff like that we should be doing under build?
There is some more boilerplate.
Okay.
We should talk about.
Cool. What is
that? Each job needs to have a definition of on what system it should run.
Oh, okay.
And that's the runs on. We need to define.
Okay. So we're gonna add a runs
dash on.
Oh, runs dash on. Between. Okay.
And here you have different values you can set. The one I use the most is Ubuntu dash latest.
Oh, okay.
This runs on latest Ubuntu, which I believe is Ubuntu Kinetic, which is 22.04.
Okay, that is what I am running on, so that feels good.
LTS release.
All right. I know the Ubuntu system. That is good. I actually will take this second to plug, not next week, but in 2 weeks at the same time on Thursday of next week, 2 weeks from now, we'll have the Ubuntu team on this stream actually, and they'll be talking about their chisel images. So Samir and Valentin from the chisel team over at Ubuntu are going to be on. So throw a big shout out for those guys. If you go to Slim.AI and you drop into our Discord, there's a link to the Discord there. We'll have an event set up for that. And I think Samir is in our Discord anyway, so he'll probably be there answering questions and all that kind of great stuff. So mark your calendars for that one. That'll be a fun one. Okay, so we're going to run this on Ubuntu latest. Now, do we have to do this for every job needs a runs on?
Every job needs a...
Okay.
Every job needs this. Cool. Because different jobs can have different
runtime environments or whatever they mean. So
they can have, for example, you could have a job that's built on Mac, job that's built on Linux, job that's built on Windows.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. And now Ubuntu latest, now that looks a lot like a container tag that I know and use a
Yeah.
lot. Is this a container? Like, do I understand this as like running in a container, or do we think that this is still another VM, like the job is?
As far as I know, this is a VM running
Okay.
an image of Ubuntu.
Okay.
As
Got it.
they probably have a standard image they just
Uh,
deploy on into a VM already pre-prepared with everything,
okay.
or
Okay.
could be already on standby.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. Okay. Okay, cool. But we can understand this to be the latest operating system from Ubuntu, and so
Latest
if we are going to
LTS,
run shell commands, or if we have some sort of,
everything should work.
everything should work just like it
Yeah,
always does in Ubuntu. Okay, super cool.
yeah.
All
And then come the big thing,
okay.
steps.
Okay. Steps. I literally type steps like that.
And this is a list of steps,
Okay.
essentially, which is either you can have commands or you can have actions,
Okay.
whatever you need. And the first action every build step should have
Okay.
is checkout step,
Okay.
which name, colon, and you can name it anything you want, but most people name it checkout because that's what
Okay.
it is.
So am I literally
You
just
need a
typing
name
checkout?
colon.
Oh, name.
For example,
Oh, okay. So
dash since it's a YAML list, you need a dash.
okay.
Name colon space checkout,
Okay.
and then next line, tab in, and then since this will be an action we're
Mm-hmm.
going to be using, we do uses colon space, and we do actions
Actions.
slash checkout
Okay.
at v3,
V3. Okay.
and this is using the third version of action checkout,
Okay. Cool.
which is stored in their actions repository.
Okay. So actions repository, I'm assuming is like a
Is
repository
maintained by
controlled by
GitHub.
GitHub. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and then if I were using saying like a third party one, would it be like, could this be like Docker, or could this be like
yeah,
Slim.AI if we were going to have one or something like that? So,
yeah.
okay. Okay. Very cool. Awesome. Yeah. I know there's been some talk about making some of our actions actual actions, but okay, cool. And then so we're doing checkout, and then we just know from the documentation or from the actions repository that v3 is the action that we're going to be doing.
It's the tag we
Is
need.
the version. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So checkout uses, do we need to tell this step to do something, or does actions just know to like check out? Does
This
checkout
step
know how
is
to
the
check out?
most basic action there is,
Okay.
since it already knows what repository is being run in and everything like that.
Okay, got it. Checks out source code. Is that fair thing? Okay. All right, cool. So we're checking out our source code. All right, that's our first step. And then is there more that we should do here for this step, or should we is now the time to start like looking into kind of custom steps that we would be building?
At this point, since we're doing Docker, there might be different requirements you have. Let's say, for example, if you're building multi-architecture images, you might
Mm-hmm.
want to set up QEMU, QEMU,
Okay.
Terminal call it, which can allow you to do different architectures within x86 system, like this one, like this VM.
Okay.
So with
Okay.
that, you could build ARM images and so on.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. QEMU, QEMU.
QEMU.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever.
Cool. Sounds good. I think like in the spirit of keeping it simple, maybe we'll skip that stuff for right now. We'll just try to run one basic image.
Let's
let's try to. You want to set up the Docker? Would that be kind of the next step?
go and create a step where we run actual commands ourselves.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
So
we can do
let's
that.
go dash name.
What are we gonna call
name
this?
it something.
Build. Build.
Docker. You can name it Docker
container.
build.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Or
Yeah.
build
Docker
container.
build. Yeah. There we go. Cool.
And now that would have to be, the syntax is a bit different.
Mhm.
You put in shell : bash.
Shell : dash
bash,
bash.
word bash.
Oh,
And
okay.
next line,
Okay.
run,
Run.
colon. Now, if you know this will be multiple commands one after another, and you would like to chain them together into with ends,
Okay.
you would have to do a vertical line.
Oh,
So
okay.
you have
Pipe.
multi-line YAML string.
Okay.
But if you know you're going to be doing just one command, you can do a single line
Okay.
YAML string without having to write it
Okay.
vertical line.
Yeah, now let me
Now-
just like kind of mentally situate myself in what we're going to do. I think it's just going to be a single line. If we go back again to kind of our, our code here, make this one a little smaller. So we've checked out all of this source code, and we have this really simple app that has this, this Docker file that's going to build the thing. It has a server.js and a package.js, and this Docker file, this all lives in one root level folder, so I don't have to worry about traversing folders or anything like that. And
all I need to do is docker build .-t and a name.
Yep. Okay. So that's pretty easy then. So we don't need this multi-line thing though. That's a good hack. So if I just do this, so I know that my docker build command is going to be this. I'm going to tag the image because I actually know this. I think I call this one gh demo GtHub Action demo container at the latest. Again, I don't really need to do that tag because I'm just kind of creating a tag, but there we go. Oh, I guess one thing is like we might want to push it as well, right? But maybe we could do that as a separate step.
Log in.
Right.
But both those can be separate steps.
Both of those can be separate steps. Let me think. Yeah.
So there actually there is actually an action to log in.
There is an action to log in.
Log in with Docker.
Okay.
But
you can also
do it. You can also do it using your own command, because why not? It all depends on what you want to do. Because if you want to, let's say, log into another server, not Docker Hub, that might not actually work through how the action works. That's why you have options of both.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. All right. Let me think about that for a second. While we do, I actually have a question from Horses Say Nay, which is, does Slim CLI depend on the Docker daemon? Can it be run within a container without Docker in Docker or access to Docker daemon? Asking because I'm curious about running Slim CLI in my CI/CD that uses Kubernetes for runners.
Today I'm a bit hard to answer this question at this moment because I have a question for them. By Slim CLI, do you mean Slim CLI that you get from the Slim portal, or do you mean SlimToolkit?
Right. So
both of them currently have same command, same entry command. So
yeah, so Horses Say Nay, I'm curious, are you coming to us from the SlimToolkit open source community, and that's the CLI that you're talking about, or the SlimToolkit? So he's talking about
and what used to be called something else.
Yeah. So Horses Say Nay. The only reason that we're going back and forth on this is because we had this was formerly called Docker Slim, is the name of that project. We recently renamed it to SlimToolkit. So you're in the right place. We understand the question. BigPod running. We do get this question sometimes.
And the reason I asked the question back is because answer depends.
Mm-hmm.
Since they said that they mean SlimToolkit, sadly that depends on Docker, because it's actually building images, doing stuff like that, and currently only container engine it supports is actually Docker.
Yeah. So short answer is that.
But on the other hand, Slim CLI, the one that interfaces with our Slim portal, which you can download on our portal, that one doesn't require, since it's mostly just interfaces with our APIs.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, Horace is saying, I'd say the first thing I would say is that yes, the Slim toolkit requires the Docker daemon. Running it in Kubernetes is difficult because of the Docker and Docker situation and container D. That said, I'll give you two places you can maybe get some more information for something that might work for you. So the first is if you come into our Discord, if you're not there already, and hopefully you are in the Slim.AI Discord. Again, go to Slim.AI, drop into Discord, just raise your hand, let us know you're there, and we can answer this question. We have a Kubernetes solution for CI/CD that is actually kind of what we're building out right now. Stay with me. The Kubernetes portion of it is kind of like the third of 3 steps. So we can actually share an example with you of that thing that we're looking at. We just don't have it ready for the stream, which works with Kubernetes. The other place that we can point you, again, if you drop into that Discord, we can put you in touch with a couple of the Docker Slim folks and developers who are also in that Discord. Who can maybe give you a few other pointers. Again, it does require Docker and Docker, but there are some people who have like played around with different Kubernetes solutions. Yeah. What were you gonna say, BigPod?
I'm gonna say that what he's referring to with how he's using, he has a whatever system he's using. So it could be, for example, GitLab CI/CD, where the runners themselves run as containers inside Kubernetes. So the first solution probably wouldn't work.
Okay. All right. Well, I think it's still like a use case that we can probably help you out with, especially as we get some of our, kind of the people that are working on this right now working.
Yeah.
So it's a very common ask that we get about Kubernetes. And so, there are ways to tackle it. Generally, we say like,
we want to tackle it further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely a use case. And like I said, I just put a link to the kind of GitHub example that we're working on right now, which is really working on this through GitHub Actions. But I do know that we have an example that's like the same setup that's for Kubernetes, and that's like coming right up. So I'll just send that to you as soon as we have it. It should be in the next day or two. And we can see if that works for your needs, and if not, then maybe we can help you out some other way. So, yeah, cool, great question, and keep those questions coming. Again, if people are watching on stream and you're curious who we are and what we do, I'm Peter. This is Primosh. We work for Slim.AI. Slim.AI is a container security and container optimization software. We have an open source project called SlimToolkit that Horses Say Nay was working with. We also have a SaaS platform and a series of kind of CLI and developer tools that help you create secure containers for production. So that's what we're working on, and we're working on a GitHub Action today. So I'm going to go back over to this file that we're working on, and BigPod, let's keep going. So, all right. So I think what we were saying was we have this like Docker build, and then we could push it to a registry. Do I need to do that, do you think, for this thing to work? Or
for a simple example, no.
Okay.
Only if you want to run it somewhere else.
Okay. All right.
Or run it in another job.
Okay, so I'm just going to put in a comment as like a to-do list item for myself a little bit later, which is like log in and push to public repo.
But it is an important note that if you're going to be logging in, you should use a secret.
Yeah.
Two secrets.
Yeah, and I do have some secrets. I actually have this set up in a separate example file, so I know what I need to do there, which would be like log in via secrets and push to the repo. I don't want to dox myself, so not that anybody would benefit much from having access to my Docker Hub repo, but again, we're a security company, so we want to take security seriously, and we can get to those secrets in a second. So I don't think we need to like necessarily push the image, as long as, because we're going to be operating on it locally here. Is that right? Like we're going to be the operations that we're going to do are going to like live within this workflow action. So we don't need the container to be in a
No,
public repo.
depending
No?
on how we're gonna structure it.
Okay.
If we're gonna be structuring it using another using single job, yes. If we're gonna be using multiple jobs, no.
Okay. All right. If we're going to using a
So
single.
everything now needs to happen in the build job, because jobs are meant to be either parallel or sequential.
Okay.
So they by very definition run on separate machines, and one job ends if you have it set up so it can actually so it will run sequentially. It will end that job, push artifacts or push push objects or whatever. If you have some artifacts you want to store, you can then pull those artifacts, or you can do pulls from Docker and stuff like that. But if you're running inside the same job, it is every step is happening on the same machine.
Okay. So if I'm going to do, okay, then everything's running on the same machine. Oh, I see what you're saying. So if we keep, so we're building this container image that's going to live in this VM, that's this build step. If we were to go to another
Yeah.
step, then that's going to like
If you
torch.
run a job,
That's going to be a whole new machine
for example,
and all
this
of that.
job,
Okay.
it would deploy a new VM.
Okay.
It.
Okay, I got it. Well, okay. Well, then why don't we do it? Why don't we go ahead and figure this out? I'm not going to put my secrets on screen, obviously. That would be ill-advised. But I do have let's see. I have some stuff over here. Let me see if I'm in the right place. I'm just going to work off screen for a second, and what I can do is, so what are the secrets that I would need? I would need secrets for my Docker Hub user account, and then I probably need like a
username and password.
Username and password. Okay.
Or username and a token.
Username and a token.
More secure.
Okay. All right. So why don't I do that? I will get a token. I will set this up, and then I'm gonna set this up basically in the secret section of GitHub, right? So I don't want to get rid of this part yet. So let me bump over and I'll show where I'm actually going to do this, which is, where does this live, in security, or this lives in my, this is in my actual
you
profile.
don't have enough permissions to actually add secrets.
Ooh. Okay. Then that's going to be a problem.
Reason for that is because you need to have highest level of access to add or edit permissions. Edit secrets, because, well, they are secret.
Right.
So,
which is fine. I just can't see them here.
And basic developers cannot edit those, cannot view those secrets. That's the security precaution they went for. So they only allow highest level of administrators for the repository to actually edit and add or even remove secrets, because that could be a huge security vulnerability for the actual supply chain.
Okay. Horses Say Nay says, can't you just output the image to a tarball? That's an interesting idea.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
And then you can push it up with as an artifact. Yes.
Okay. How do we do that? Oops, you sound.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Oh wait, hold on. I don't want to lose all this stuff that we just did. What happened? I don't think I logged out, did I? Oh no. All right, hold on. Talk amongst yourselves here.
Action.
Jeez. We're having fun. Okay, cool. I'll get myself logged back in here in just 1 second.
And I'm just looking for the actual action to upload artifacts.
Okay.
And that is a benefit of good documentation.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Where you can just Google for things and you will get them and will understand. Because even the smartest people can't remember everything.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're gonna murder me. We're gonna have to redo all of that. That's okay. Let's just go back. We don't need to go back through and do the skeleton. I just kind of lost that. That's my fault. I'm sorry. I didn't anticipate that we were gonna need all this stuff. All right, so let's go back through. So we had name. This was called main.
Main.
We had
lowercase m.
all right. We had on. Let's see if I can remember all of these. On
Push.
push.
Branches.
Branches. Main. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have jobs.
And then we had jobs. Checkout.
Build.
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 Oh, right. That's the name of the job.
Runs on.
Oh, I don't have to do name there. Runs on Ubuntu. Latest. And then steps. This is in this, and then we're gonna do name.
No, list first. You need to have a dash.
Oh,
this is a
got
list.
It. Okay. What do we call this? Docker build.
No, this is checkout.
Oh, this is checkout. Checkout. And then uses.
Uses.
Actions. V3.
At V3.
Okay.
Then second one, which is the build step name.
Name. Docker build. And then what was this?
Steps without the dash. Tabbed in.
Wait, steps again? No.
Not steps. Shell.
Shell, right. Shell, bash, run, Docker build.
Yeah.
I'll just call it demo latest. We're gonna
not
export it.
runs, just run.
Oh. Okay. Cool. Name main. Okay. Cool. Run latest main. Okay. So then I'm assuming we want another step then that does tarball.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing that that's
that should
shell bash.
Bash.
And then can I just run the what is that? Docker save?
Docker
is that what the
save.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So I remember correctly, and file name I think.
And then file name demo tar.
Let's see. A dash O.
Oh, yeah, the output file.
Yeah,
got it.
Then we need to use another action called upload artifact.
Okay, cool.
Which
upload.
is, let's see, uses.
Yep.
Actions / upload dash artifact at v3.
Artifact at v3. Okay, so this is another action that GitHub has defined.
With.
Yep. What's that?
With colon. You need to put with colon.
With.
Next line. You tab in. Name colon. You name the artifact. How artifact be named?
Demo.tar. Yeah.
And next line.
Yep.
Path. P. And just relative path to the file. Yeah. And this will upload the artifact.
Okay.
So that's the artifact is the general name for files that we want to keep after build.
And then I can access that some other
step,
some other way. Okay.
Another step. Sometimes workflow entirely.
Okay.
Depending on how it is set up.
All right. So now we build, and so we built the image. We checked out the code. We built the image. We output it to a tarball. Thanks for the assist there. Horses say nay. And we uploaded it to the artifacts. That's going to live in the kind of repos, action artifacts. Okay. And we can get it later. Cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
So
now we're
create a new job.
Okay. Create a new job. Yep.
Go back.
All right.
So it's just first level. So 1.
Okay. And is this where we're going to
And
start our hardening
we
process?
we can name it whatever we want. We're going to do hardening. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll call it harden. That's going to be the job name. Can I put a little extra thing here? Did
Yeah.
I hit that on the right
Tab
line?
in.
Okay. And
Runs on.
then runs on Ubuntu
Yeah,
latest
latest
again, which is what we want.
steps.
Okay.
And now the first step, which is again a list, so dash,
Yep.
is download artifacts.
Okay, name download artifacts.
You need to find how you actually download them.
Okay. So I'm guessing that's probably going to be another action. Oops.
Yes.
Okay.
Need to find the right one.
Cool.
Where is it? Actions. Download artifact. So it is actions
Yep.
/ download dash artifact at v3.
Download artifacts at v3. Okay.
Now we with again.
With.
This is how we define different parameters.
Got it. So I'm just
name.
probably. Yep.
We need to use same name.
Yep.
And where we're gonna place it with path.
Path. Which would be the same. We just want the same place. Okay.
Okay. Now since now we downloaded the artifact, we can do what we need to do with it. So
yeah. I'm guessing we probably want to like Docker load it back in, right?
Yeah.
So that would be shell. I'm getting the hang of this. I get it. Okay, I can write YAML. Here we go. I'm learning new things. I'm not.
Run.
You're not impressed by my YAML skills, are you? You're like, or my. You know, if Martin were here, he would be impressed by my my shell scripting
when
capabilities.
You write YAML every day, this
yeah, it's still like novel to me, but not for everybody. What can you do me a favor and look up the magic invocation for Docker load, or if somebody knows it, maybe we can do this. How do I it's like Docker load and just
-i
and
file name.
That's it. Okay. Demo.tar. And so is the image just going to be called demo latest, or can I tag it in this, do you think?
I think it should be tagged already.
Oh, okay. It's got the tag inside of it. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's stored as a tag.
Okay. All right. So in theory, what we've done is now we've taken our checked out code, we created the tarball, we uploaded that to our artifact. Now we've downloaded it from artifacts, we've loaded it into into Docker in the Ubuntu latest container or in the VM. Is it obvious that Ubuntu has Docker already pre-installed in it? I mean, I guess that's something that you just know. But
I think that the specific image they're using should have Docker installed.
Yeah.
As far as I remember.
Cool. And I think we should probably also it's good to like take a moment just to say that like Docker. I know there are a bunch of actions that are Docker actions that probably can do a lot of these same things, but we're just kind of used to the command line, so we're using it that way. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, what we need to do is harden. So we will have to harden with SlimToolkit.
Okay.
We need to first install SlimToolkit.
Well, I think we're actually going to do it with the Slim instrumented process. Yeah.
Do you have where do you have the image?
I don't know. That's what I was going to ask. So I think like let's take a step back here. So what do we mean by hardening images, right? Just for people who might be tuning in for the first time. Well, our sort of entire stack is based around this idea that you can automatically harden a container image. That's what the open source project does. That's what our Slim portal does. And so here's an example from our colleagues, Ivan and Mitranjay, who they've created this GitHub registry. They're using GitHub registry. We were using Docker. GitHub registry would have been a fun thing to do too. We should do that next time. And this original image, which is again just the same app that we're running, which is just a hello world version of the app, but running on Node latest in this case, is almost a full gigabyte with 30,000 files and 600 vulnerabilities. Now, when we run the hardening process on it, it gets removed down to just 2 vulnerabilities, 3,000 files, so 1/10 of the files, or a 90% reduction, and it weighs in at about 89 megabytes. So that's the process that we're trying to do. Now, you can do this a number of ways. As BigPod said, you can do it through the SlimToolkit, and that's what Horses Say Nay is using, which is a command line, free open source command line tool. The upsides of using that are that it's free, it's open source. It does, the downsides are sort of, there's a pretty steep learning curve to it. It's pretty hard to figure out. It doesn't come with sort of built-in vulnerability scanning and that kind of thing, and you're kind of on your own to figure out, like how you implement it into CI/CD and all that kind of stuff. You can also do this on the Slim portal. If you go to Slim.AI and you click the Get Started button, you can create a free account, log in, and do this through our sort of web UI. And we've shown that a number of times. You need to have the image sitting in a repo in order to do that, either a public or a private repo to do that. But you can go ahead and do that, and that's actually where the screen capture is from doing that. Now, what we're looking at here is actually a third way that we've made available for people to do it, which we call, which is through a new CLI tool that you download from the Slim platform that actually interacts with our SaaS platform. And so you get sort of all of the benefits of vulnerability scanning, container management, container intelligence, but you can actually, it's much easier to run through CI processes. And then this is actually using an instrumentation process that we've built, which basically takes the Slim sensor from the open source project and injects it into your container so that you can observe the container as it's running, say against your test suites and all of that. And then it creates a profile and it hardens it for you automatically. Does that all make sense? That was a lot.
Yes, with one caveat.
Uh-huh.
For the third way, using Slim CLI, you need to have your image sitting inside our registry as well.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're not going to get around
If I remember correctly,
upload
we
to
need
a
to push the
registry.
image.
Okay.
Yes, we need to do it.
We can't just have it sitting in the, okay. That makes sense, actually, because there's some stuff in here about kind of configuring a connector and all of that kind of stuff. So, all right, we might need
a connector on our site.
Yeah. All right. Well, I actually, I like your idea. I like, why don't we do this action just with SlimToolkit, and we'll just run the hardened image. This will show people kind of how to use SlimToolkit to do it. And then maybe we do a follow-up stream on that to kind of like fit this on top of that. How does that sound?
Sure.
Okay. All right, cool. So let's go back to where we were. This is good. All right. So then we're going to call this, let's call this like, so what do we have to do? Download SlimToolkit, get Slim?
Yep.
Okay, we'll call this step. Again, we're doing a step here. Zoom in a bit so you can see it. So this step we'll call get Slim. What am I going to do here? Probably just run a shell command, I'm guessing, to install the SlimToolkit. Okay.
I wouldn't know. I always build it from source.
Oh, you're hardcore. All right.
It's not that I'm hardcore. I just need that development version.
Yeah. All right.
And it's just easy for me to type 2 commands I already have saved.
Nope. I got you. I know. Plenty of people on our team have their own little scripts and all of these kinds of things for installing the SlimToolkit. I'll be honest, I have to always go and remember exactly how to do it. Let me think about this. So, all right. So I'm not going to pull the Docker pull.
No.
I am not doing brew install. Let's see. Download. Do I have to can I curl download it? I think.
Yes, you should be able to curl. And let me. So the command is pretty long, so
okay.
I won't be able to tell you by tell it to you. So
Okay, you want to send
you
it to me?
can.
Oh, I don't know
Let
if
me
you can
just
send it
check
to me.
something. I can send it to you. Just want to check something.
Okay.
Uh,
So in the meantime, I'll
if it's
run
the,
curl x something.
I want to get the versions right because there might be some changes.
Ah. Okay. Well, while you get that, I will just say, so kind of for anybody that's just tuning in, what we've been doing is we've been building a GitHub Action that takes kind of a node application. It starts with some application code that is just a basic server app, and our goal is to automatically harden or slim a container image that we build off of this source code. So that was what we were doing. We were checking out the code. We run Docker build to make it build. We output it to a tarball, which I think was a smart thing to do, and upload that to our artifacts. Then we do a second step, which is maybe we'll change the name of this to Slim. We'll change it to Harden later. So Slim, and then we download that tarball. And basically what we're going to do now is go get the SlimToolkit open source project so that we have something that we can run, and then we'll set up a command line to slim that image, and then maybe we can do something interesting after that. So
I believe, let me just check if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
yeah, okay.
this command will do everything.
Okay.
Of course, an important note for everybody is do not just run commands off of internet. make sure to check what they're doing.
Yeah, check your SHA IDs and all of that. We should probably.
I know that this command is correct, so,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
this
yeah.
should be correct unless somebody changed it.
Right, right.
It's
Sorry, BigPod, where did you just send that to me? In chat?
in
On
Discord
Discord?
private messages.
Okay. All right. So let me go get that.
And I don't know the person who made this command, so I know it should be correct.
Okay. All right. Let me just do that real quick. Sorry. Okay, cool. And if people have questions about what we're doing, please chime in. Let us know. We are a friendly group. Say hi. If you are finding this interesting, feel free to give us a follow. I think we're 8 follows away from 500, which is pretty cool. I'm actually pretty excited about that. It's been really great. So, all right, I'm going to grab this command that you just sent me that we copied off the internet. Oh, I remember this command. I know who made this one.
Yeah. That's why I trust it.
Yeah. So, okay. So basically we're getting this, we're downloading sort of this binary, the Slim binary.
This does full scripted install, which means
Okay.
all the way from downloading to extracting the tarball and placing it in the right directory.
Okay. All right. So now after we have this done, we can kind of assume that we can run SlimToolkit anywhere that we want, and we'll do that in a step, which is like run Slim. Okay. And then again, we're just writing some bash shell. Is that really all we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. And so we have an image that's called demo tar. I think all we would have to do would be to run
Slim
build.
What did you name it before? What did you tag it with before?
What did I tag it as before?
Demo column
column latest. So demo latest. And do I need any super magic slim build containers, flags or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. And what about? I'm kind of thinking like after we do this, then we should have an output container, which if I remember correctly is
it will be automatically named with demo.slim.
Demo.slim latest. So I was kind of wondering, like, could you do is there a way to like output? I'm just like curious. Can we like do like let's see, check results or something. Check results. Can I do like I don't know, like Docker images rep Slim? What will that actually output in the world?
It will output if there is something, it will output a single all the lines containing the word Slim.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If there are any.
But it'll output it like in the workhub flow. Is that right? Like, so it'll put it in the logs of the workflow
as
somewhere.
a standard output, so it will be in the logs. Yes.
Okay. All right. I feel like this is getting it.
Output logs.
Yeah. I'm also paranoid because I deleted the one previously and I don't want to do anything.
It should be exactly the same.
Yeah. Should we go ahead and commit this one and then we can see like what happens when we run?
It should run.
Yeah. Let's do our first. I'm just gonna do a very basic
commit. And as every programmer knows, you don't hide.
Oh, I think OBS is about to crash. Sorry, everybody. No, just kidding.
Now you click Actions.
Horses say nay. Thanks for following. Appreciate it. Good content. Oh, great. Thank you so much.
How badly we failed.
Yeah, let's take a look. Okay, so we go to Actions. So a couple of things I think like interesting to think about, just in case people like who are very new like me to these things. GitHub, when we created this workflow file, automatically added a .github folder to our repo. They put this main.yaml that we created in the workflow file. And so we can actually just do commits directly to that as we make updates.
Yes.
But then we also have, if we come over to workflows, we can see, okay, something's already broken. That's okay. But we'll figure it out in a second. But we can also, when we come over to this main workflow, we can go and I believe I might just be a little too zoomed in. You can actually go find that workflow file immediately
by
where you can like
main.
See what's
YAML right under the name.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So here, this is the thing I was looking for, the workflow file. So if you do need to go like make edits to where you were, you can just go and do that. All right. So what do you think went wrong here? It looks like build failed, which is probably.
Check.
Oh, okay. Docker save requires at least one argument. Okay, so just something
you
is just.
Forgot to put the name of image. Geniuses.
You forgot. No.
And I can tell you right now why the second step failed. So second job failed. We forgot to tell it that it can only run after the first job finishes. And you already made a mistake.
Okay.
Go back up.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be demo dot not demo.r but demo::latest.
Yeah. I knew that. Okay, cool. Awesome. So demo latest. So that was just a fat fingered mistake on my side. This is the karma from me gloating about how good I was being about remembering how to write shell script and command line stuff. Okay. And then the Slim one we need to add. So you're saying we need to add something here.
Yes.
That tells it to run after. So is that like a depends on or something?
Needs.
Oh, like an emotional support system.
And the name of previous workflow.
Okay, which we called build. So it needs build. I need build to run. Okay. All right. Otherwise, it's going to try to do both of them at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but in parallel.
That's good to know.
Which is great if you're, let's say, building for ARM, building for on Macs. We have software that is, let's say, desktop software.
Yep.
That can be built for Windows, Mac, Linux.
Right. Okay.
You have different components. All can be built in parallel.
Cool. All right. So that commit's happening, and then. So it seems like kind of like a nice thing is that it's actually like every time we update the workflow file, it's actually like doing a test run, or it's like running that
it's
trigger.
It's actually running because we pushed.
Okay. Oh, it's like self-defining.
And since you have it set
right
that you have on a push, it already knows that this is a push.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It runs.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if we hadn't done on push, then this wouldn't automatically run. but we
There
also,
are other triggers like workflow dispatch trigger, which would be a button in the UI, which will allow us to start the build.
cool.
And as you can see in the diagram, the
Yep.
line between build and slim, which tells us that it is actually one is dependent on another.
Yeah. And it says how long it's running. And I think this is really cool. Like you can actually like go in and see what's happening at each step and then see what happens. So like for people who build containers a lot, like we do, this is clear. This makes sense. This is it pulling the node image and then running it.
I think I already see. Can you go up a bit? That we're gonna fail. Oh no, we won't. I
Okay.
see.
Well, you don't know that we won't, but
Yeah, we won't because
the...
of the thing I thought we will.
Yeah. I wonder how long. Well, I guess it is a 1 gigabyte image that we're uploading. Probably something more or less. I mean, if we base this off that latest image,
take a minute.
Yeah. So it might be that since this is building a tarball and uploading it to the artifact page, that's what we're actually like running into. All right. I'm curious to see that when that gets done. Which kind of brings up this point again, right? Which is like, you want to like use as small container images as you can for all of these reasons. So you don't kind of have to sit here and, if you're a developer and you're doing this, this is, time you could go get some tea or, whatever. But, I mean, here we have some like dead air, some dead time. And these time series things tend to be pretty annoying little time sessions, like 2 minutes. I don't know if this is going to take 2 minutes or 10 minutes to upload this 1 gigabyte image. So
in days past, I used to take these times when it was all doing stuff or like long builds. I used to actually play games.
yeah. And then you get super into a game and then 2 hours go by and you're like, oh shoot, oops.
Well, I used to play stuff like stuff that had rounds, so I could.
Oh, okay. You do one
things,
round,
and
come back to your build, and then
because
see,
I have 2 screens, I always saw the output
right
swinging by. When it stopped, it was either bad or really good.
Yeah. You're like, dang. Yeah, no, it makes sense. And of course, we can all get up and take a walk or stand up. Never hurts. But yeah, I mean, creating kind of smaller images, But I think the one thing too that we think about a lot here at Slim is, there are some advantages to using sort of larger images. You have tools in them that you might need for development. They're
very good for development.
Yeah, as you're developing, you want to have some of those things. So that's why we advocate for this automated process to slim your images or harden your images, and that's what we're trying to set up. Building this into CI/CD, which horses say nay, so that's like one of the main things that he wanted to do with SlimToolkit, right? Like now this just becomes an automated process, right? So you really can like walk away and do something else. You could play games, work on another project, go for a walk. You can do all of that, and that the CI portion of this is going to handle all of that stuff, right? And you're going to start with just this. You're going to hit run, you're going to hit commit, right, on your code, and all of this other stuff, all the way to creating a production ready image that gets shipped to, kind of whatever deployment environment that you want, is just going to happen. And you'll have some tests and some checks and stuff like that to make sure it works. But that's the idea. That's like the vision. That's like the golden vision that we're trying to instill in people, is build this all into CI/CD, have the automated process for doing the hardening of the image, and then, your life as a developer gets a lot better. So curious if people have thoughts about that workflow, but I think we're seeing it kind of in action right here because, if you're doing all these steps manually to like push images and build them, figure yada, 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 then
there we go.
Yeah.
Job number 1 completed. Now,
all right.
On the side panel, you will see
cool.
all jobs, and Slim
failed. So close. Unable to resolve action. Did I just spell artifacts wrong or something? Actions download artifacts v3. Repository not found.
Yeah, one S too many at the end. Download artifact. Singular.
Should have known. Should have known. All right. Man. This is totally just because I I was bragging about how good I am at writing
And
shell.
another 5 minutes of us having a conversation.
Yeah. All right. Let's double check just before since we know that the build step is a little bit painful. Let's go ahead, and I guess this is one of the downsides of doing the tarball is that we don't get the benefit of layer caching with Docker, but that's okay. This will be a one-time pain. Download artifact. I got the name right. I got the path right. Docker load bash. Docker load -i demo.tar. You don't think I need to give that an image name? You think it's just going to pick up the tag from the...
I think you don't need,
Okay.
because it should carry the flag.
Okay. All right, then we're going to go get the SlimToolkit binary and install it with this one magic command that our patron saint Whippy's World created for us, I believe. And then we're going to do slim build demo latest. We don't need any other flags. It's a pretty simple app. And Horses Say Nay says, yeah, Docker log picks up the tag from the bundle metadata. Okay, cool. So got some confirmation there. Awesome. And then we're going to run docker images.grep, and we're going to see, you know what? What's going to be more interesting? I'm just going to make one other minor edit to this. I'm going to take this grep away, actually.
Don't. Right now, don't.
Why?
Because you're going to restart the build. It's already 1 minute in.
Oh, all right. I won't. All right. Well, I was going to say, I really want to kind of see what the original image looked like. All right. Let me just go back to Actions then. All right. Oh, you're right. Okay. Here we are. So now we can watch this one.
Almost 2 minutes in.
Okay. And we're on that
already
tarball stuff
tarballing.
again. So yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah, like what else can we talk about? So I think like if we just kind of like think back, so again, we have this example here in the SaaS harden image simple app, which is in the Slim.AI repo on GitHub. So you can go check that out. And again, our colleagues Ivan and Mitranjay put this together, so thanks to them for that. This runs through kind of like a new way of doing that. And so I'm pretty excited to kind of like look at what they did. In fact, like one kind of cool thing would be to sort of compare our initial action to theirs. So they have 2 steps as well, build and harden. So here we're just looking at...
They have 2 different workflows, actually.
Oh, those are 2 separate workflows. Interesting. Okay, not different steps. Workflows. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting the hierarchy now. Okay, so they have a build workflow. Which is in this build.yaml, and good on them for doing YAML. These are real Linux people. So they have build, here we have all the same thing that they're doing. They're using secrets to define what the repositories and the, SHA IDs are going to be. They're getting the image name out of their repositories, but they're doing the same things we're doing, which is check out,
they
log into
using
Docker.
an action.
Yep. Oh, okay. So they're using the Docker login action, which I'm guessing. Oh, that's really funny. That's kind of cute. They're using the Docker login action, but the registry they're logging into is the GitHub container registry, which is cool. And then they have these, these secrets and kind of variables that are set up, which makes sense. Apologies for the dog barking. He's been going crazy today. And then it goes and builds the image again. It's using this Docker image. So here's the difference.
Which has both build and push.
Build and push all at once. Once you've logged in and authed in the previous step, then... Okay, so some advantages there to using the actual Docker Actions, GitHub Actions. You don't have to write as much command line code, and there's some things that it does kind of for you, which, okay, that's cool. You can also build multiple platforms. That's kind of cool. And then we have this harden job. Okay, so it's one workflow file, but it's 2 jobs. And here we say
no, it's
no
workflow files, but it this job references another workflow file.
Oh, okay. Just blew my mind a little bit. Okay, got it. So this is actually pulling in a separate YAML file. It's going to run that as part of the job. It puts those 2 jobs together because they're dependent on each other. We need to build, and then we're going to harden.
After another. Yeah.
But rather than write another ton of YAML code, they create sort of a separate workflow, which could be used independently or it could be used in this one. So they're kind of modularizing their build. Okay, that makes sense. That's kind of cool. All right, so let's go look at the harden.yaml and see what that does. And that actually, that's funny. Okay, so that never actually runs because it's only really being called from build. Okay, cool. Workflow call inputs image. Okay, I'll have to understand what that does. But here they're going through this process of sort of instrumenting the container like we talked about, which is injecting the Slim sensor into it so it can collect all of the information that it needs. It runs through and, again, checks out the code, uses Slim Cuddle. So this is actually an action that they've defined. This
They
so
have
this
a separate action that does installation of Slim CLI.
Okay, cool.
That's the one that you'll find on the portal, which is currently also called Slim Cuddle. But we're not sure.
Okay, got it. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So basically, like, this is the Slim CLI, but wrapped into its own action. So rather than having to go through and like download and configure and do all of these things, it just takes the API token from your Slim portal account, gives it to something that knows how to run the Slim CLI tool, and then you can do these things from there. Okay, cool. That's cool. All right. And then, so these steps then are just basically these instrumentation steps that, we're passing over to the,
and this is a script because what you need is instrumentation ID. So
okay.
Much multi-line script.
Okay, I got it. So really the script is just running on something that's like a command line tool, but what you're getting is this instrumentation ID, and that's the only thing that you need to do, like the next step in the process. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have a process called probe, which is where we're
then they have another job called probe.
Yep.
Which runs on Ubuntu latest and needs instrument job to be done.
Right, because what that's doing is basically running the instrumented container, and then it's going to kind of run tests or exercise that container in some way so that the Slim sensor can see what's happening. Now, when you run this through the open source CLI tool, it just does all of this kind of automatically, but that's doing it locally on your desktop rather than, sort of using our SaaS application. Okay, cool.
And in their example, it's just doing a curl.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And that's cute. I've never seen somebody do that before, but that's some fancy bash right there.
You could do the same thing with, instead of having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you could do 1.5.
Yeah. That's more like Rust. That's the way Rust does it.
Cool. Not that great.
I know. I found the Python developer who's like, oh, that's really cool. I've never. Right. But okay, cool. So then they're just doing this thing that's basically like hit the container 5 times. That's like a proxy for a test, basically. And then this thing stops the instrumented container, does so gracefully. And then we use the action again.
And now tell me what's the difference between, is this another job or just another step?
This harden is a job. So harden is a harden job inside the harden workflow, which is pulled by the harden job in the build workflow.
You see, you actually did learn something.
Yeah, I'm getting better. I get it. I got it in my mind. I got these levels in my mind now. And now I know this action. So this action's checking out the code again. It's saying, okay, we're going to run something with this Slim cuddle action again, and in that case it just happens to be the Slim harden, and this is where the instrument ID comes back in. So that's one of those outputs that we created. Okay, this is some fancy stuff. Okay, cool. And then we just verify again. Sort of the last thing that we do is to just run that test again and make sure that we can curl things without failing. and then stop the container again. Okay, cool. That's a cool action. Let's I mean, I think we would have been very
Cool workflow,
challenged.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think good workflow that implements several actions. I think we would have been very challenged to build that all in one. Oh shoot, hold on, our thing messed
Oh,
up again. That's too bad. I don't know that we'll have time
Slim.
to look and see what we actually did here, but Docker load
Um,
demo.tar is
um,
a directory.
um,
Huh.
um, 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 um.
That's weird, right? Does it?
Why, why, why?
Why is Docker? Why is
This doesn't make sense.
yeah?
Uh,
Demo.tar, does it like try to
it,
open demo.tar or something when you do the,
either that
or the
or
artifact
what
is in a
is,
folder?
yeah, either that. My guess is that
Mm-hmm.
it tries to untar it
Mm.
for some reason.
I'm somewhat inspired to think that,
You know what I would do if I was doing this? I would add between download artifacts and download and load. I would add an additional step, which is a simple ls command,
okay.
and then I would add two steps, ls and ls star dot demo dot tar.
Hmm.
So I would see what is happening, but then it would take another 5 minutes.
I've got a crazy idea. What if,
Uh, it
what
won't work.
if, what if we
No,
do,
no, no, no. It
no,
won't
you
work.
don't want me to do that? I was going to say, what
No,
if,
it won't work
oh, because we don't, no.
because there would be no image, no tar dot
Oh,
of image.
artifacts are per workflow.
Is there per run? Yes.
Okay. Oh, per run. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Per
Well,
workflow run.
yeah. Well, we are gonna come up on time. Let's try one more. Let's try one more. My
And you can
oh,
see
here
we
we go.
have an
This is the
artifact.
artifact. Yeah. So, oh, I can download that as a zip file. That's weird.
Yeah. I would go and do that as a
Okay.
add that to the.
We'll
We
try
need to.
that. We are going to have to. We are running out of time here, so we're up against the clock. So let's see. That's demo.tar. Do you think maybe just doing maybe I shouldn't be doing this? Like,
Possibly, not sure.
okay.
I still. That's my standard step for debugging when it comes to this stuff is adding ls and adding a
Okay.
bunch of ls's to
All
see
right.
what's actually happening.
Hash and then run ls. ls minus
Yep.
la because we're just fancy like that. All right.
And then, not yet.
Yeah.
Copy this. Create another step with that.
Okay. Okay.
And instead of going ls dash la, you at the end add demo.tar.
Oh, just to look inside the demo.tar
Yeah.
directory and see
Yeah.
what's
And
going
I'll
on.
commit, and we're gonna see what is happening
All right.
in 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes. All right, we might not get that 5 minutes because we are going to have to come stop pretty soon, but we'll let that run and we'll see. I'll keep an eye on it here in the background, see what's going on. So we got a little bit of debugging to do, but I think we got the general idea of like how we set up this GitHub action. We did get a chance to kind of look through our colleagues' instrumented hardening, so I think that's like a good follow-up for us for next time to see if we can get that GitHub action working. And yeah, we got a bunch of exciting streams coming up. So if people are watching, give us a follow. Check back. We're on always at Thursday at 3 p.m. or thereabouts, depending on how the stream setup comes together, as BigPod got to witness. It's not always smooth when I'm running it, but but this was a good stream. Next week, I think we might have our new developer advocate, Nana, come join us. She started recently, and she's going to be streaming. She's in our Discord channel, sharing some of the things that she's learned. And then, as I mentioned, a bunch of exciting new streams coming up as well. 2 weeks from now, we'll be with the Ubuntu Chisel team. Following that, we'll be having Raw Code, David Flanagan, who we've talked to and worked with before. He's going to be coming on stream to share with us some CI/CD work. And then following that, we're going to have Nuno, Captain Corsair, who works on the Rancher desktop team. He's a super fun streamer. He was at our booth at Civo Navigate and all this kind of stuff. So he's going to come join us, and we're going to play around with some Rancher and SUSE stuff. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. Drop into the Discord and give us a follow here. You'll get all the updates as to what we're doing. And yeah, BigPod, just want to say thanks. Thanks for teaching me GitHub Actions. That was really informative. Yeah. I feel a lot better. Like, they're very demystified for me right now. They were kind of inaccessible. I was reading examples and stuff, and I just couldn't rock it in my mind. So yeah, good to get your expert take on it. So yeah. Awesome. Well, BigPod, what are you up to coming up soon? Are you going to be streaming on your own channel and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, probably gonna be streaming some stuff on my own channel.
Yeah, okay. And where do we find that? That's twitch.tv/
No, it's youtube.com/BigPod.
youtube.com/BigPod. And Horses Say Nay says nay. Horses Say Nay, thanks so much for the follow. Thanks for jamming with us today. Super awesome to have you. Drop into Discord and say hi, and we'll get your question answered about Kubernetes and come back and join us next week. So yeah. With that, we will say goodbye, because I apparently have a dog that needs to go out. He's been reasonably patient, but no longer. So, all right. Sounds good. We will see y'all next week, Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. All right. Thanks very much.